Hey, what's going on everyone? I'm Jakejames Lugo, and welcome to the channel, where you'll find some of the most fair and honest game reviews out here, but get ready and strap in, because it's about to be a rough one. We're talking about a Star Wars game, but we're talking about Masters of Teräs Käsi, and yeah, this one is not going to be pretty, people. Not going to be pretty whatsoever. If you ever wondered why we never saw many fighting games based on the Star Wars franchise, then prepare yourself for a history lesson. And while you're at it, grab some popcorn too, because you're going to have fun hearing about this disaster. Star Wars Masters of Teräs Käsi was released on the PlayStation in 1997 by LucasArts. Mind you, this was the same year that we got the Jedi Knight and the X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter series. Make sure you remember that. The story of the game takes place after the events of Episode 4 A New Hope, right after the destruction of the first Death Star. In retaliation to this defeat, the Emperor calls upon Arden Lin, an assassin who is a master of the ancient fighting style known as Teräs Käsi. Real talk, it's basically just hand-to-hand combat, utilizing powerful punches that are said to rival the intensity of blaster fire and explosives. It also utilizes incredible speed and acrobatics for the user. I feel this is a bare-bones explanation for something easily compared to the fighting from the Tekken series. Even the word Teräs Käsi translates to steel hand, much like the Iron Fist tournament. But is this style of fighting any better than just learning the ways of the Force? I honestly don't think so, but I digress, people. Anyway, Arden Lin is chaperoned by Darth Vader as she tries to eliminate key figures within the Rebel Alliance, which puts Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Chewie within her sights. And that's literally it. I'm not even kidding. There's nothing more story-wise beyond that. I tried to look up some more info in a few other places to see if there was any other supplemental material that detailed the plot, but there's absolutely nothing out there. You only get a short prologue at the start of the game, and that's about it. To say that I'm disappointed would be a massive understatement.
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
So this game is not part of the mainline canon for the Star Wars franchise, and looking back at it now in all honesty, it is for very good reason. We just see some things that contradict later episodes of the franchise, especially with the original trilogy. I mean, in all the different promotional material for this game, we see Luke Skywalker in his Return of the Jedi outfit, but it takes place after Episode 4, which kinda doesn't make any sense. At the same time, it is cool to see these original trilogy characters interacting with each other in a different way, especially during that time frame. But it's also cool to see an original character like Arden Lin, who is a master of Teräs Käsi. I think that's kind of cool, and the concept of Teräs Käsi as far as hand-to-hand combat, that is pretty dope, and it did make its way into the current canon after the Disney buyout. It was mentioned in Solo, a Star Wars story, and it's been talked about here and there in various books and other stuff. That in of itself is kind of cool. As far as the rest of the game, when it comes to the plot, again, there is nothing here to go on. There is literally nothing, which I think is absolutely insane, especially for a Star Wars game, which every single Star Wars game that we've seen, even back then in '97 when you had Jedi Knight and X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter, there was all this backstory that went along with it. And this game just kind of got like surface level stuff, or almost literally nothing to offer to the greater franchise. And to me, outside of just the fighting style of Teräs Käsi, it's just absolutely insane. I should also note that seeing characters from the extended universe of Star Wars like Mara Jade or Joda Kast, it's actually kind of cool to see them because, again, those characters, if you know who they are, they're pretty dope, at least, you know, getting a nod here. But if you don't know who those characters are, you're not going to find any real value of them like actually appearing in this game. Again, they don't contribute anything to the story, they just are there, they exist, and that's it. It's kind of weird, it's kind of dumb, but it is what it is. So now that we covered all the story stuff, let's get into this train wreck. Again, strap in, people, because this is not going to be pretty. Let's talk about the gameplay of Masters of Teräs Käsi, because, man, you're not going to like this one bit. Where do I even begin with this thing? To put it bluntly, Masters of Teräs Käsi is a train wreck of a game. The fighting is completely unbalanced, and the controls and movement are stiff and feel broken. Seriously, I sat down to play this game, and after the first 10 minutes, I already had a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Oh, I have a bad feeling about this.
So what do I mean exactly? The game is heavily inspired by the Tekken series, both in concept and in design. The problem is that it tries to replicate what made Tekken so fun to play without any of the important ingredients to do so. The first thing I did was play with Luke Skywalker in the game's arcade mode, and I was met with some of the most janky and uncomfortable fights ever. Most of my special attacks almost never worked the first few times that I tried to do their inputs, which can be tedious and annoying in the middle of a battle. On top of that, the computer AI opponents always felt like they had the upper hand no matter what difficulty setting I was on. I would try to do attacks and get stifled by my own character's unresponsiveness, and then get beat down by random moves that the character would throw out frequently. It got super frustrating and forced me to redo many of the fights I got into. One thing that I found that was super disappointing to me was the shallow amount of game modes. You have the arcade mode, versus battles, survival mode, team battles, and practice mode, but that's about it. No story mode or anything that takes advantage of the Star Wars IP. You would think with a universe like Star Wars, more effort would have gone into making something that gave us more backstory. It's a very meager display from a very shallow game.
I don't believe that. And you're sounding like a separatist.
This thing is super rough, guys, and it really sucks to say that because I enjoy the roster. I think the roster's cool with maybe the exception of Thok and Hor, but even then, like, I couldn't enjoy playing as any of these characters because the controls are so stiff, they're sluggish and unresponsive, and the AI is just all over the place. It's just so difficult for no reason, and it makes every single matchup that you play in this game just frustrating, annoying, and just not fun to go through. I hated it at some point, and I was saying to myself, like, why am I continuing to play this game? It's just so bad. I mean, certain aspects of the combat itself is just very confusing. Like, I get where they were going with the unarmed combat and the weapon mode combat, but why oh why, if I have a lightsaber or if I have a blaster or any sort of weapon, why would I choose to fight unarmed against my opponent? It just doesn't make any sense. At that point with this game, just make it so that way every character uses their weapon as part of their moveset, rather than actually trying to switch between the two different modes. Because if I'm playing as Luke Skywalker, why oh why would I turn off my lightsaber? It just makes no sense whatsoever. But even with all of that being said already, we're not done yet, guys, because there's still more stuff to talk about with this game that's just so bad. Like, just bafflingly bad. Like, confusingly bad. Like, how? Now, if you really want to talk about messed up, the unlockables in this game are a complete embarrassment. We get some unlockable characters that are great additions to the roster, but how you obtain them is total nonsense. You have to finish the arcade mode on Jedi difficulty with specific characters to unlock them. You mean to tell me that I have to play through this janky game multiple times on the hardest difficulty setting in order to fill up my roster? Oh, but it gets even better. In order to unlock Mara Jade and Jodo Kast, you have to defeat the CPU on Jedi difficulty in a preset team battle for Mara Jade, and then win more than 10 matches in survival mode to get Jodo Kast. Come on, bro. How did anybody at LucasArts think that this was a good idea? But that's not the thing that gets me the most annoyed. When you play through the arcade mode on Jedi difficulty with Chewbacca, you unlock, and get ready for this, the stage select for versus mode.
What?
Are you kidding me? For real, that's it?
How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair.
You mean to tell me that a standard thing in almost every video game out there, especially fighting games, is now an unlockable that you have to earn on the hardest difficulty setting? Come on now! That is the biggest pile of Bantha fodder that I have ever seen within a Star Wars game. For real. That's it, guys. I give up. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't know what else to say about this game. It's just atrocious. It's just super bad. And there's just so many terrible decisions that were made with this game, which could have been cool. Like, we should have a Star Wars fighting game. Like, we've had other games here and there that have had fighting elements to them, and they've done all these, like, cool, interesting things. But a tried and true, pure fighting game, we've yet to get a really good one within the Star Wars universe, even now today. And it's just such a damn shame to me, because how do you take something that's like a standard option in most games, just being able to change the area that you fight in versus mode, and then make that like one of the most ridiculous unlockables that you could get by playing arcade mode on the hardest difficulty? Like, that's just stuff that just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, absolutely poor, terrible, garbage decisions were made with this game, and I wouldn't begrudge anybody out there thinking that this is probably one of the worst Star Wars games that they've ever played. Let's not put this off any longer. Can I recommend that you check out Star Wars Masters of Teräs Käsi on the PlayStation? Hell no! This game is horrible, absolute trash, complete Bantha fodder. This honestly has to be one of the worst, if not the worst fighting game that I have ever played in my career of reviewing video games. It's seriously that messed up, with very little things to offer anybody. Even the most die-hard Star Wars fans will look at this game with sheer disgust for how bad it is. Avoid this thing at all costs. Otherwise, you're on a one-way trip to the dark side.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
I couldn't have said it any better than myself, Master Yoda. And there you go, everyone. Those are my thoughts about Star Wars Masters of Teräs Käsi. This game is just bad, bro. Like, it's just so terrible. Like, I really believe, especially after you guys saw this video review on this game, that there is a very strong case that this game is worse than Shaq Fu on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Like, it's just that terrible. Some of you out there might disagree with me for one reason or another, but I think that after watching this, I think my perspective is pretty solid for this being one of the worst Star Wars games out there. But of course, like any other game that I review on my channel, that's just my opinion about Masters of Teräs Käsi. Let me know your own thoughts about this down below in the comments section. Tell me, are you a big fan of Star Wars? What are some of your favorite characters in the franchise? But also, give everybody some recommendations down below in the comments of some better Star Wars games, much better than this one anyway, to enjoy and check out, because there's so many Star Wars games that have been made by LucasArts or one team or another that there's a lot of stuff to enjoy in a galaxy far, far away. There's so many much more better games than this one. But if you want even more of some of my recommendations for Star Wars games, definitely check out the playlist of Star Wars videos that I have on my YouTube channel. I'll leave a card on my channel here so you guys can check it out, but go visit my YouTube channel and look at the Star Wars playlist, because there are so many games there that I've reviewed and previewed that are much better than this game, and I'm guaranteeing you that you'll definitely enjoy some of the cool ones in there. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video review, and I will talk to all of you guys again very soon. Thanks a bunch for watching the video. I really appreciate it a ton. I'll have more videos for you to enjoy here on the side that I know you'll love. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon too. Don't forget to visit my Patreon linked below for early access to new videos every week, and join the Discord server too. It's linked in the description box below. You'll definitely love being a part of it. Thanks again, peace out, and stay epic, everybody.